Okay, right now we're looking at the group policy settings. And under group policy, we have client control, native client. Now, under native client, when someone installs and uses the Windows client, they will see a shortcut in their documents library. They'll get a shortcut created on their desktop. And also, under the folder and storage section, home directory, they get a documents and pictures folder created automatically for them. So let me show you what that represents. If we go to the tenant, and I say add a new user, native user, we'll just call this T3, user 2, I'm going to uncheck these. Hit continue. All right. Now this is a critical decision. When you're creating a user, if you have a team folder that's been created, you'll want to give read and write access to that folder if you want that user to see that folder. I'm going to do that this time. And we'll hit commit. All right, so now we have a new user, T3 user 2. And I'm going to go to my desktop and log that user in. Okay, so that user is logged in, and when I go to my client icon and click the folder, you can see that this user sees documents, pictures, and the team folder that's been created for them. Now, let's create another user, and this user, I'm going to turn off those features so you could see what happens when you do that. So first, it's important that you disable group policy features that you want to apply to Windows clients users before you actually add the user. Because other than like a team folder, which will disappear if they're no longer allowed to have access to it, things like the documents and pictures folder won't go away if they already had it when you disable it in the group policy. So if you're wondering why those remain after you disable it, it's because that's part of a user that had already existed, and if they were already using those folders, you don't want them to suddenly vanish. Okay, so I'll go into group policy, folder and storage, home directory, and I'm going to turn off create default folders. We'll save that. And then I'm going to go to client control, and I'm going to turn off create the shortcut on the desktop. We'll save that. You can see that shortcut right over here. All right. So we'll create another user. Now I'm not going to check those, and then I'm going to hit commit. All right, so now we have T3 user 3. So I'll minimize this, and I will log out my other user. And we will log in user 3. Watch over here. You see that icon disappeared? And now when I go to the folder, that user has nothing. So it could be useful for the user to see something in the folder when they first arrive. That's why we create the Pictures and Documents folder. Also kind of gives them an idea of how useful the folder is and gives them something that they're familiar with, because most users have a Documents folder when they use their computer for the first time. So it's to give them something familiar to work with, and of course they can go ahead and begin dragging things in there, and they'll have access to those remotely. But there's nothing there when they start. It just kind of makes them wonder how useful the drive is and what they can use it for. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I'll just go ahead and log back in. As user 2. Then I will go to the folder, and you can see that the user 2 has the documents, the pictures, and the team folder. It kind of gives them an idea of what this folder is for and how they can use it. So I hope that was helpful, and you can understand better now why we have group policy settings that allow you to control the native client and various things that go on there, and the home directory. All right, a lot of other features here you can take advantage of. I encourage you to experiment and see what you come up with and work out a configuration that works for your setup. Hope that was helpful, and see you in the next tutorial.